I never imagined my life would become this kind of twisted real-life soap opera, but here I am. I, 28 female, have been completely blindsided by the people who were supposed to be my family, and now they expect me to be the one to leave, to just walk away like none of this affects me. I need to know if I'm going crazy, or if I have a right to be furious, because, honestly, I'm at the end of my rope. Let me start from the beginning. I was engaged to Jake, 30 male, my fiancé of 2 years. We'd been together for 4 years, and I truly believed we were building a life together. We had the whole thing planned out, saving for a house, dreaming about future vacations, and talking about kids someday. Jake was the person I thought I'd be with forever. He was my best friend, the one who stood by me through thick and thin, and I never saw any signs that he was unhappy in our relationship. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but that's part of any long-term relationship, right? Well, apparently, there were signs that I just wasn't seeing. Or maybe I was too trusting to ever imagine that the people I loved could betray me so deeply. Here's the bombshell. A few months ago, I found out that Jake had been cheating on me with none other than my stepsister, Emily, 25 female. And to make things worse, my stepmother, Susan, 50 female, was not only aware of the affair, but actively encouraged it. Yes, you read that right. My own stepmother, who has been in my life for over a decade, thought it was perfectly acceptable for her daughter to sleep with my fiancé because Emily deserves to be happy. Let's rewind a bit. For years, Emily and I have lived under the same roof with our parents, my father and Susan. My relationship with Emily has always been complicated. We were never super close, but we weren't enemies either. We were just coexisting, I guess. But I never, in my wildest nightmares, thought she would betray me like this. Looking back, I can see now that there were signs. Moments when I caught them sharing private jokes, lingering looks, and once, when I came home early from work, I noticed them sitting way too close together on the couch. I shrugged it off because I trusted Jake. I trusted my family. Then, one day, everything changed. I came home earlier than expected, again, and this time, I caught them. I walked in on Jake and Emily in the middle of an intimate moment, kissing like they didn't have a care in the world, like they hadn't completely shattered my life. I'll never forget the way my heart dropped in that moment. I felt like I was in a dream, or rather a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. I demanded answers, and they had the audacity to admit that they'd been having an affair for months. But that wasn't even the worst part. When I confronted my stepmother, Susan, about how she could let this happen under her own roof, her response was, "Emily deserves to be happy. You can't help who you fall in love with." She even had the nerve to try to justify the affair, as if it was somehow fate that my stepsister and my fiancé ended up together. Susan acted like I was being unreasonable for being hurt, as if my happiness didn't matter, because Emily's happiness was the only thing that counted. She sat me down and tried to comfort me, telling me that I needed to move on because clearly Jake had chosen Emily, and these things happened for a reason. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My stepmother was actively condoning this. Like my entire relationship with Jake was some kind of a stepping stone for Emily to find her true happiness. It was surreal. I expected her to feel guilty, ashamed, something. But instead, she stood by Emily as if they were justified in betraying me. I was furious, heartbroken, and humiliated all at once. Things only got worse after that. Jake didn't even try to make amends or apologize in any meaningful way. He moved right in with Emily emotionally, if that makes sense, spending all his free time with her, and Susan allowed it, welcomed it even. He started coming around to the house regularly, as if nothing had happened, as if I wasn't living there, as if we hadn't just broken off our engagement. I had to see him, the man I thought I'd marry, parading around the house with my stepsister like their relationship wasn't born out of deception and lies. Naturally, the tension in the house became unbearable. Every time I saw them together, it was like a fresh wound being opened. I couldn't even sit down at the dinner table without feeling like the air had turned poisonous. And where was my father in all of this? He knew about the affair, and instead of being angry on my behalf, instead of standing up for me, he pulled me aside and said, "I know it's hard for you to see them together, but maybe it's best if you move out. You need space to heal, and this situation isn't good for anyone." Are you kidding me? My own father suggested I leave because the situation was uncomfortable for them. As if I was the problem. The woman who destroyed my relationship and the fiancé who betrayed me were being given free reign of the house while I was expected to pack my bags and go. It felt like I was living in some twisted alternate reality where the person who had been wronged was being punished, while the cheaters were coddled and protected. When I asked my father why I should be the one to leave, he told me, "It's probably hard for you to see Jake here, and you'll feel better if you just get some space." Not once did he suggest that maybe Jake shouldn't be coming over anymore. Not once did he consider that maybe Emily and Jake were the ones creating tension, not me. It was like he was bending over backward to keep the peace with my stepmother and stepsister, all while throwing me under the bus. I tried to explain to him how hurt I was, how betrayed I felt, not just by Jake and Emily, but by him too. But he just kept saying that it would be easier for everyone if I left. I felt so abandoned, like my own father was more concerned with keeping his new wife and her daughter happy than he was with standing up for me, his own flesh and blood. So now I'm left with this impossible decision. Do I leave and give them what they want, or do I stay and refuse to let them chase me out of my own home? I don't know what to do. On one hand, staying here is torture. Every time I see them together, it feels like a knife in my chest. But on the other hand, why should I be the one to leave? Why should I be punished for their betrayal? I'm the one who was wronged, and yet I'm the one being asked to uproot my life. To make things worse, Susan continues to make snide comments, implying that I'm being dramatic for not getting over the affair, and that true love can't be stopped. She even hinted that maybe I wasn't fulfilling Jake's needs, which is why he turned to Emily in the first place. It's like she's trying to gaslight me into thinking I somehow deserved this. I don't know what to do. My father's pushing me to leave. Emily and Jake act like they're the victims of some love story, and Susan is treating me like an inconvenience. So, Reddit. Am I the a-hole for refusing to move out of the house after my stepsister had an affair with my fiancé? Or should I just give in and go? I think OP is definitely in the wrong for not leaving. Staying around people who betrayed her shows a lack of self-respect, and they don't deserve to have OP in their life after what they've done. I understand wanting to stand your ground, but sometimes the stronger choice is to walk away with your dignity. They clearly don't care about OP, so why waste any more time or energy on them? And now let's hear the community's opinion. This is honestly one of the most twisted family betrayals I've ever read. You're 100% justified in staying where you are. They don't get to play happy family after what they did to you. And your father? I can't believe he's just sitting on the sidelines, prioritizing his wife's comfort over his own daughter's well-being. You're not causing tension. They are. Not the a-hole. This whole situation sounds toxic beyond belief. I know it must be hard to keep seeing them flaunting their relationship, but they're the ones who should be uncomfortable, not you. The fact that your father is so quick to suggest you leave just to make everyone else feel comfortable is a betrayal in itself. You have every right to stay as long as you need to. OP, the fact that your stepsister and stepmother are openly encouraging this is absolutely mind-boggling. You are definitely not the a-hole, and honestly, they don't deserve the satisfaction of seeing you leave. I'm sorry your father doesn't have your back in this, but don't let them push you out of your own space. They should be ashamed of themselves. Update. Thank you to everyone who offered their support and insight. I truly can't express how much it helped me to read through all your comments. After taking some time to reflect on the situation, I came to a difficult decision. I've decided to leave. I can't keep living in this environment, feeling like I'm the one who has to adjust for the sake of people who betrayed me. It's not fair, and it's taken too much of a toll on my mental health. I'm packing my things and moving out, but I'm doing so on my own terms. I'm leaving not because they won or because I'm giving in, but because I deserve peace. I've also decided to go no contact with my father, stepmother, and stepsister. My father made his priorities clear, and if he's willing to enable their behavior just to keep things comfortable for them, then I don't need that in my life. The fact that he didn't have my back in such an obvious betrayal hurt deeply, and I don't want to keep subjecting myself to that. My fiancé, Corey, and I are getting married next June. We've been together 2 years, engaged for 4 months. When we met, he had recently gotten out of a 6-year relationship on and off. They were living together and also engaged. During one of their off times, his ex got pregnant by someone else. They called off the engagement and he moved out. They broke up for a while after that. Eventually, they got back together, but they still called off the wedding and he never moved back in. He would help out with her daughter, Nia, But Nia's father is fairly active in her life, and Corey never thought he was the actual father. Corey does not keep in contact with Nia or her mother. In fact, I have only ever met the ex twice. I am familiar with Nia only because my son attends the same school as her. Nia was only 2 when Corey and her mom split. She knows Corey, but doesn't have a strong relationship with him. From what Corey has told me, he really only bonded with Nia when he would go to visit his ex. He did not support or provide for them. So imagine my surprise when he told me last week he wanted Nia to be our flower girl. Conversation went something like this. Me: I hope Destiny, my niece, comes out of her shell a bit before the wedding. She would be the cutest flower girl. Corey: I thought Nia could be the flower girl. Me: Your ex's daughter? Why would she be in our wedding? Corey: She has been a part of my life. It's my wedding too. Me: I think that's weird. You didn't take care of her and you're not related. You have so many family members that could be a part of our wedding. We didn't even discuss inviting them. Corey: I think it's a kind gesture. I used to be engaged to X. I have no ill feelings towards her or Nia. We have no reason to exclude them. We went on and on about this. He has been in my niece's life since she was born, and she is literally a part of our family. He also has 2 nieces that he didn't suggest to be a part of the ceremony. I have no problem with Nia. She is a beautiful little girl. I even told him we could invite them since he felt so strongly, but he really wants her to be the flower girl. I even thought for a minute that she may actually be his child, and that's why he was so upset. But Nia is her father's twin. I also thought maybe he was just being left out of the planning, so I made sure never to make decisions without him and to have him do some planning as well. However, he was not interested in doing any of the actual legwork. I am totally blindsided by this. I honestly have been weirded out by the whole thing. Even if we had more than one flower girl, it would still be strange to have my husband's ex-girlfriend's daughter in our wedding. I don't want to look back on pictures and be reminded of his past relationship. Am I being insensitive? Am I minimizing the role he played in Nia's life? Edit: Corey loves children. He loves my son and has a good relationship with him. I have considered that he may be jealous of my son's relationship with his dad, and that's maybe why he wants Nia in the wedding. My son's dad takes him to school daily and makes his lunch. He moved closer to me when I moved last year, so he can continue to be actively involved. And his family is also very much a part of our son's life. Nia's dad lives out of state. I don't know exactly what their relationship is like, but I know he has other children that he lives with. Corey is still in love with his ex, and including Nia in his wedding is a way for him to make his ex feel like a part of this momentous occasion. Right? Asking your ex-fiancé to borrow their kids so you can use them to marry your new replacement fiancé is not kind at all. At best, it's super awkward. Realistically, it's cruel. Corey does not keep in contact with Nia or her mother. This makes it especially weird that he wants her to be the flower girl. Who the heck says they want anything to do with his wedding day? Did he seriously say it's a kind gesture? Like he's doing the woman he didn't marry a favor by inviting her to the wedding of the woman he did marry. He's either insensitive, lying about why he wants them there, or both. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's not more in contact with them than you think. My older sister has 6 children. Yes, 6. Her eldest boy is 7, nearly 8 years. Then twin girls, 6 years old, a 4-year-old boy, a 2-year-old girl, and she's just recently had a boy aged 11 months. Before the arrival of her last 3 kids, I like to spoil my nieces and nephews. It was my decision. A bad choice, I admit, but I wanted to do it. I still get on well with her oldest children, and we enjoy spending time with each other. With her 5th arrival, I realized I just couldn't afford big presents 5 times a year, as well as the money I spend on them when I'm taking them out to places and looking after them. So I started toning it down with the prices of the gifts. I'd always ask them what they wanted, which is usually a Barbie or a doll or toy cars or a new game, something along those lines. I'd get them one of those as their main present, and then a little treat like a packet of sweets or chocolate. Every time I've given these gifts to her kids that are old enough to understand the sentiment, they've been happy and thankful. I've not noticed them realize they didn't get as much this year as last year or anything, but my sister apparently has. This came to a head when I bought her newest baby a birthday gift for his first birthday, a new jumpsuit from a designer kids clothing shop in our local city, and one of those magic water play mats. My sister called me the other day and asked me what I had gotten for him, and I told her. She then looked at me a little surprised and said, "Oh, Is that all? I said, well, yes. Does he need anything else? She said no, but that I had stopped getting her kids such nice gifts, and she wondered why. I told her I could afford it a few years ago, but now it just isn't practical for me to keep spending nearly £60 on a gift for each child, now that she has 6, and that they seemed happy with their gifts anyway. She took huge offense to this, telling me it was rude of me to insinuate she had too many children. Everyone picks on her for it apparently. And I should have plenty of money because I have a job and I get benefits, and importantly, don't have kids. We have a brother, 30 male, who has an 8-year-old daughter, and I asked her if she was like this with him. But she said no because he has his own kid to spend money on. I don't think that she realizes that I'm not living in the lap of luxury, and I really don't think spending so much money on kids' birthday presents is feasible at all. I live in a flat near the city with a housemate. I own my own car because I have fibromyalgia. It limits my energy levels severely. I work a seasonal job, 2 or sometimes 3 days a week, which works out with my capacity. Without my car, I wouldn't be able to get around, or my seasonal job, and I have a lot of prescription medications. However, all my problems are null and void because apparently, people without kids with jobs, no matter how little they pay, are always rolling in money and don't have any responsibilities according to her. I can't get through to her that I really don't think her kids care that I'm not dropping loads of money on their gifts anymore. She's never complained to me that they're unhappy or anything like that before the other day. I still visit them and look after them and take them out places fairly regularly. She's actually started telling my mom and dad that I don't care about my nieces and nephews anymore. They are reluctant to believe her and understand my point of view, but they just can't get through to her either. Her husband and I don't really talk too often. But when I was last over, she was acting really weird with me. He asked what it was about, and I told him. He was confused and said he hadn't heard anything about it, and basically that I had nothing to worry about since the kids were fine. I just don't know what to do before my nephew's birthday at the end of May. I don't want to stoop to the level of going out and getting him another gift to appease her, because I need to save as much as possible this month, since work has been slow. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Buy gifts within your budget. Your sister is lashing out because she doesn't feel confident in her choices, and you are an easy punching bag. Your gift budget isn't the actual thing bothering her. Going forward, you should cut off conversations about money and gift expenses with her. She is rude when she pushes in those areas. It is fine to stonewall or push back. She sounds really materialistic and entitled. An aunt who spends time with her nieces and nephews is far more valuable than getting expensive gifts. You already tried to reason with her, but that apparently did not work out. So ignore her comments and talk with your parents, because they are more likely to understand. You don't have kids and she does. It sounds like your sister is touchy about the number of kids she has, and has decided to interpret your budget limitations as a personal insult on her family choices. Because she will likely not respect you because you're not a parent, or therefore must be rolling in money. A good way to shut this down might be to not discuss your budget with her, but comment on her impolite behavior. If she makes a comment, say, "Wow, what a rude thing to say. I'm really embarrassed for you." I'll preface this by being honest about the fact I've never really liked my sister-in-law. Despite being younger than me, my sister-in-law, wife of my twin brother, has been nothing but condescending to me. But my family was all too scared of saying anything to her that they just let her be hurtful. She criticizes me for being behind in life compared to her because I'm not married like her. She treats me like I'm ducking stupid, and my family tells me to just take it. There are times she has been only wrong, and I've corrected her, and I've been made out to be the witch. It's gotten worse because now she is the golden princess for giving my parents their desperately wanted grandkids, and I'm just chalk-ducking liver. I'm over it. I'm sick of keeping the peace. I'm sick of being walked all over by this woman who everyone else thinks is an angel. A few instances since I've known her that pissed me off. I had a spare NHL playoffs ticket this year that came about after a friendship ended, and the person never gave me back my money. I told my parents I was going to sell it because Habs tickets are incredibly expensive, rare, and I could recoup my money. I can think of at least 5 people off the top of my head who'd have jumped at the chance to buy the ticket at the price I paid for it. My mother offered it to my sister-in-law, who was also a Habs fan. She never paid me, and when I asked about it, both my mother and her were like, "Oh, but I have 2 babies, money is tight." I guess my money doesn't matter. I'm a student, not exactly rolling in money. I can't exactly be affording to gift her Habs tickets. If I was giving it away, I'd have rathered it gone with a friend, like treating my friend from South Africa who was on exchange to a really great Canadian experience. I told my mother I was going to sell it anyway, and my mother said not to cause crap, and she'd already told everyone she was going. I'm sick of being expected to buy expensive presents for my nieces, only to be barely acknowledged by them in return at present time. Yeah, I know that sounds selfish, but I don't see why I should be pressured to give generous gifts to all of them, only to be given a card and a cheap box of chocolates in return from the whole family. In October, I was expected to gift them over $150 worth of stuff each. They forgot my birthday in November. My parents were like, "Oh well, the childless always get shafted. Just the way it is. Sorry, but I think it's unfair. I don't want to punish my nieces, but why do I have to throw money at them to receive little in return? It feels unfair. I'm not saying they have to match me dollar for dollar, but I'm basically spending $200 plus on them at Christmas to get a cheap $10 box of crap chocolate in return. Purposefully put me in a very unflattering bridesmaid dress, hair, because V is prettier and skinnier than me, so I need to make her look bad so she doesn't steal the pics. I was so humiliated by it, and had to pay $400 for the ugly dress. Felt I couldn't say no because of my brother. My sister-in-law picked out the same name for one of my nieces that is my cat's name, and asked my mother if I could change my cat's name so my niece could be the only name in the family. My mother told her I'd do this without asking me, and when I said I am not doing that, I was made out to be evil. Now, all anyone says is, "Isn't that your cat's name?" And I say yes, and they're like, "She didn't care?" No, she never has. The thing is that I don't care if she used the cat's name. I care that she expected me to change my pet's name to suit her. No, the cat was here first. The other niece's name is my name with only a slight variation. Not the real names, but for example, if I am Amelia, my niece is Amalia. I tried to gently point out to my brother that it feels a little like I'm being replaced in my family. And he said, "Who cares? She really wants to use this name." Wow, thanks. If I had $1 for every time someone has said, "Could she be more obvious about trying to replace you in the family?" I'd be rich. My mother and father refused to talk to my brother about it, and whenever I said it was kind of hurtful to me that they were doing this, I was dismissed. I was expected to go and babysit for her when she had surgery and my brother worked. I live in the Plateau. They live in Laval. I got told off for being angry I was left waiting at the train station for over 40 minutes in freezing weather because she didn't pick me up at the designated time. When I complained, I was told not to whine and to understand she has kids. If I refuse to babysit, I'm being a selfish witch. She does nothing but make fun of my interests. Newsflash, I don't care if you think Taylor Swift sucks and that learning Polish is a waste of time. Our maternal grandparents are from Poland. I'm taking lessons because I want to be able to transcribe old diaries of my great-grandparents and grandparents from the war, etc. Just stop mocking me for what I like, especially when I'll be treated like crap if I mock you because you're obsessed with ducking Kendall Jenner. Yes, I'm 24 and still a student. You don't need to call me childish for trying to better my life. I'm always expected to sleep in the freezing cold basement when we visit our parents' house for holidays, so the twins can have their own room. How is that ducking fair? Put them in fold-up cots in with you. She is always wasting money on clothes and manicures, and then hitting my parents up for money and they let her. That really annoys me. The worst part is my own twin brother doesn't care how she treats me. He thinks the ducking sun shines out of her ducking butt and doesn't care that this woman does nothing but criticize me. I hate that my parents always defend her because of my nieces. I hate that no one cares how she makes me feel and the way she is awful to me, and with Christmas coming up, I'm at my wit's end. Don't tell your mom about any windfalls until you've spent or allocated it. Stop spending so much money on presents for kids who aren't old enough to appreciate them. At 14 months old, a nice teddy bear is a decent gift. If you wanted revenge on your sister-in-law, though, musical toys are a great gift that keeps on giving. No more babysitting unless you're getting paid for it. If they can't afford it, then they can't afford to go out. Your cat's not going to know who your niece is. That cat's name stays as is. When your niece gets older, you can tell her she was named after your cat. The cat is her auntie now. As for the name of your second niece, Now you can just say that it means niece 2 is yours now. It's got your name on it. As for the selfish witch comments, turn it around on them. Oh, I'm not babysitting your kids because I'm a selfish witch. Or, selfish witch here. If you're calling to request a favor, you won't get one. Seriously, work on moving out of Crazy Town. You visit your parents for holidays? Excellent. So you don't live there. Stop spending time with people who make you feel terrible and say no to their ridiculous requests. What are they going to do? Badmouth you? Oh wait, they already do that.